Hi, it's Ian from the Postal Hub podcast.
And Marek from Last Mile Experts.
And we are the Last Mile Prophets. This is the last word on the last mile. This video is created thanks to Modern Expo, one of the key players in the world's parcel locker market. Modern Expo's product portfolio includes innovative solutions with refrigeration and freezing cells, Bluetooth locks, and even personal parcel lockers. Marek, not that long ago we recorded a video having a look at Australia Post's parcel lockers. There's a pop-out up there somewhere. And one of the things that was noticeable in that video, Marek, was that the Australia Post has got different styles of parcel lockers out there. It's probably a good time for us to talk about what's sort of happening generally in the parcel locker space. So how would you characterize the different sort of types of parcel lockers that are out there?
Actually, I'm really pleased that you chose this topic today, Ian, because as you know, it's one of my faves. I could talk about lockers all day. So basically, if we're to choose types, I'd say first is indoor, outdoor. Historically, most of them were indoor. And if you like, we could talk about why that's not so great. So indoor, outdoor. Then next gen, and let's call them classic lockers. That's to coin a phrase from my friends at Kiba. So the classic is the one that needs power and looks like a locker should look, with a screen in inverted commas.
Yeah.
And then the next gen is the battery powered one, which basically doesn't have a screen, doesn't require power cables, doesn't even require Wi-Fi. So I'd say probably that's the generic, with one exception. I'm talking about out-of-home lockers now, because we don't talk about the ones, the one parcel, two parcel locker you put outside of your home.
Yeah, that's probably a whole other discussion about that, about the residential parcel locker, which is for a single residence. However, Marek, when you talk about indoor and outdoor parcel lockers, you could probably say, well, the parcel lockers that can be installed in the foyer, or the foyer if you're that kind of person, the lobby of an apartment block are basically your indoor lockers, aren't they? But that wasn't always the thinking, was it? I mean, the indoor lockers, well, you said there's a problem with them. Well, it's obvious, isn't it, Marek, what the problem is?
Yeah, so first of all, I mean, the reason why they call them indoor or foyer locker, that sounds really quite good, is a foyer locker. Are you a foyer locker or an outdoor locker? So sorry, I got carried away here. The foyer locker will typically not be metal, so you can't use it outside. It's cheaper to produce.
Well, they're made out of wood or something, are they?
Actually, they are. They were made.
Well, there are actually, aren't there? Some of them are made out of wood, aren't they? Yeah.
Some kind of MDF wood type mix, and they're pretty good, and they're okay provided they're used inside. The reason why I say they're not so good is they're not so universal, and in many cases, an indoor locker will require access. Access is not as easy, and we all know that what we love most is a locker that's very easy to get to 24/7. Maybe in a Lidl car park close to you, easily
to pick a random supermarket that seems to always be partnering with parcel locker networks. But anyway,
honestly, I picked Lidl because they do it very, very well, because their model fits extremely well to lockers. They have
what's special about Lidl for those who are outside of Europe or might have never seen a Lidl? What's special about Lidl then that makes their setup particularly amenable, if that's the right word, or suitable for parcel lockers?
Oh, this is so French today. So what's particular from what I can see, and I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a different one, all of them have a car park close by. Even if you don't have the classic model, which is basically car park on ground level next to the store, easily accessible 24/7. Even if you don't have that, there'll be a car park nearby. So underground car park or other form of easy access to the store and therefore to the locker. So that's what makes them really good. And probably, to be fair, so that all the other supermarkets out there don't say that last mile profits are favouring only Lidl. If someone else has that sort of site, let us know, by the way, because there are going to be a lot of parcel locker operators who would love to know you.
When it comes to Lidl, yes, every Lidl I think I've ever been to it's basically freestanding as opposed to being inside, say, a shopping centre or something like that. And you can often find the supermarkets that are inside a shopping centre. Well, let's talk about this access part of it, though. So when you talk about access to the lockers, it's not just about the public being able to access them easily and retrieve their lockers. It's also about the delivery driver being able to access them easily, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's equally important because, we discussed before about an InPost delivery driver being able to do well in excess of 1,000 parcels in a day. And it's because the B2C stop becomes like a B2B stop. So it's in the same place, easy to park, easy to access the locker. He can literally park next to it, bang, 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 parcels in. In fact, a little hot piece of news from the latest report I saw from InPost InPost, it's about 75 parcels per stop for a locker.
Really?
Which is really not bad at all. And again, we can talk later about classic and modern lockers. Most of the modern lockers, the next gen lockers, the battery powered ones, are much smaller. So theoretically, you're not going to be able to do the 75 parcels per stop, at least based on the installations they have at present.
I think this is a very interesting point about the driver being able to access easily, because I've seen lockers inside, say, a shopping centre or a food court. The driver has to find a parking spot somewhere. Now, it's not always guaranteed that there'll be a car park, as in a shopping centre car park nearby, because it might be in a city area. They then have to travel with, have you seen them, Marek, these expandable trolleys? They fold up and they expand it like a canvas bag inside.
Mm-hmm.
They have to chuck the parcels in there and then get them out when they get there, instead of being able to do it in a more efficient way. Sometimes, Marek, if you're desperate for sites and you've got a good site that will enable trip chaining, well, then it's worth it, isn't it?
You make a good point, though. First of all, not everyone has the expandable cart, and it really is a pain. And actually, if it's a pain for the courier, it's also a pain for many customers, because I don't know about you, but if I have a choice of my nearest locker, 350 meters away, slipper distance, thank you, InPost, and outside with a car park, it's much easier. I would never, ever go for one in a shopping centre, because what if it's not a trip chain? What if I have to go specially to pick it up?
And this is where, I know we're getting a little bit off topic here, but this is where I think the customers really need to have choice and information when they get to checkout. One of the things that you'd also have to say, Marek, is the size and the weight of the parcel that you're going to be collecting. If it's something that's is big, you don't want to pick it up somewhere where then you have to walk for 150 metres to get to your car. You want to be able to get it out of the locker into your car. If you're not able to get it delivered home, obviously. For some people, heavier parcels, you just want it delivered home. But if home delivery is not available, or if it's, there's all this matrix of choices, aren't there, Marek, that you need to be able to give the customer information at checkout so they can make an informed decision when it comes to out of home delivery, selecting a parcel locker versus residential delivery, and time slot. Anyway, I'm going off.
But Ian, no, these are actually really, really good points, because if you think about it, take it a step further. Let's say that you get, and depending upon the network, sometimes you can even have a parcel of about 30 kilos. So let's assume it's rarely the case. Usually it's because someone's broken the rules. But if you have a parcel like that, that's big and heavy.
One of my bugbears, Marek, so let's tread carefully here, because I might go off on a rant about parcels that are really freight and should be a two-person delivery instead of a one-person. Anyway, Marek, please continue.
Well, actually, 31.5 is the point at which it becomes two-man. So it's just below. But imagine you get that in a shopping centre somewhere, and you don't have a trolley because you didn't go to the supermarket. What do you do with it? You have to go and find a trolley. You have to put your, whatever it is, €1 or $1 or whatever it will be, into the trolley. Take it to the car. Take the trolley back. Absolute nightmare. Honestly, I think that, yes, perhaps where you don't have enough locations, you need to use indoor sites, but it's certainly not the preferred.
Now, Marek, we're going to run out of time, though, if we don't.
We've got to talk about the other lockers.
We're going to talk about classic versus battery powered, or sort of the screen versus Bluetooth.
Yeah, indeed. And listen, I think it would be really cool. Maybe when we're at Post Expo, we have a bit of a chat, because I had a really cool discussion with our mates at Kerr about, a lot of counterintuitive things. For example, and we'll share that in one other video, why the big locker cells are at the top, not the bottom. Because intuitively, you'd think the big one is for heavy parcels and it should be at the bottom. This was such a good one. I am going to share it with you. Why do you think you have the small ones at the bottom, not the top?
For laughs, to watch people topple over backwards. That's it's very simple.
You know what? It's actually quite clever. It's to avoid an animal, if the locker's left open by mistake, or a child getting into the locker and being closed in. So it's actually quite clever. Method in their madness. How about that?
We've got to talk about the difference, though, between the screens and the Bluetooth. So basically, you're talking about one that's going to be battery powered. The phone is the interface, versus one that's got a locker that's got its own power source, and there is a screen that's the interface, right?
Well, I actually call them parasitic lockers, because you're absolutely right. The next gen locker doesn't have its own, well, it does have battery power supply, but it doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's got a lot simpler, should we say, components, and it effectively parasitically uses your phone to do what it needs to do. From a customer perspective, it means that you need a smartphone to be able to use it with an app. So no app, no locker,
no parcel.
Yeah. Absolutely. On the other hand, it means you're likely to have more of these machines at approximate distance, which is great, because they don't require power. They're a lot easier to install. Planning permission is simpler because it's movable. So I think, that's effectively the debate.
And it's a debate we're going to have another time, Marek, because we've run out of time. Thank you for watching this video on YouTube. Remember to hit like, subscribe, and the notifications bell so you get a message in your thing, your stream, on your phone, on your whatever, every time we publish a new video. Maybe we'll get around to recording the second part of this video, which was supposed to be a one-part video. Anyway, subscribe. Helps us keep this channel free. Marek, Różycki, thanks for being part of the Last Mile Profits today.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, everyone.